On social media that he wants a trade. He's been a hold-in at camp seeking a new deal. Adam Schefter reports that talks were actually going backward from Parsons' initial meeting with owner Jerry Jones in March. And media, what's been happening over the last couple of years? And it is a lengthy post, but this to me is the most glaring part. Quote, "Up to today, the team has not had a single conversation with my agent about a contract. Not one demand has been made by my agent about money, years, or anything else. Still, I stayed quiet. But again, after repeated shots at myself and all the narratives, I have made a tough decision. I no longer want to play for the Dallas Cowboys. My trade request has been submitted to Stephen Jones personally." I just mentioned him. Let's bring in our NFL insider, Adam Schefter. Shefty, how did we get to this point with Dallas and Micah Parsons?
This has been building, Elle, for quite some time, and the fact that we've seen other pass rushers get contract extensions in recent months, and the Cowboys haven't even had any conversations with Micah Parsons since late March, early April, when the Dallas Cowboys felt that the makings of a deal were in place, tells you where things are today. And it led to Micah Parsons telling Stephen Jones he now wants out of Dallas. Now, usually Jerry Jones likes this sort of attention, but when we go back to previous contract stalemates with Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb in recent years, none of those players ever issued a trade request the way that Micah Parsons did today. Now it's up to the Dallas Cowboys to figure out how they want to proceed. But Micah Parsons' big objection was the fact that he felt like he was going to talk to Jerry Jones about leadership, and somewhere during the talk of those conversations, Jerry Jones turned it into a negotiation that did not make Micah Parsons feel entirely comfortable. When he went to hand it off to his agent, the Cowboys got uncomfortable, and there's been no conversations since then until today when Micah Parsons said he would like to be sent away from the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, negotiating with agents is literally par for the course in this particular industry. But let's humor me for a second. Let's say Dallas does trade Parsons. What kind of return would they get?
Well, you could look back to the time when the Raiders traded away Khalil Mack to the Chicago Bears the week before the opener, and it included multiple picks, including 2 first-round draft picks. There is the compensation back then that was traded. But let me say this, El. I do not believe that the Cowboys want to nor intend to trade Micah Parsons. We'll see how dug in Micah Parsons and Jerry Jones wants to win a Super Bowl. Who knows how many more chances he's going to get to try to win one. Micah Parsons is the best player on their team. He's 26 years old. He's one of only 2 players in NFL history that has had at least 12 sacks in each of his first 4 seasons, the other being Reggie White. This is not the kind of player that you want to move on from for draft capital in future years when you want to win now. So there'll be a lot of drama in Dallas until this is resolved, but something tells me the Jones family will not want to and does not intend to trade Micah Parsons.
We saw in recent years, outside of the Cowboys, Lamar Jackson, when he couldn't work out the deal with the Ravens at first, request a trade as well. Obviously, it worked out, and he is still a Raven, but we'll see how this plays out, and obviously Adam Schefter will be all over it for us as it does. Thank you, Shefty. But, I mean, honestly, you guys, why not just pay the man? It feels inevitable. I mean, he's produced a pass rush win rate of over 30% since his league debut. That is the best in the NFL. He's a 2-time All-Pro. He's pressured the quarterback on about 17% of his pass rush snaps. That is also tops in the league. For much more on the precarious Micah Parsons situation, we bring in Kevin Clark, who's host of This Is Football. I mean, how do you see this playing out? What are we doing?
Very few things are more worthless, Elle, than a superstar in the NFL demanding a trade.
Yeah.
Never happens. Okay,
Yeah.
they say it, and then either, I was the idiot who thought that Myles Garrett was doing his stand for more than money. Oh, it was personal. Oh, it was because he wanted to go to a winner.
Yeah.
Guess what? Money solves everything. Money will eventually solve this, but I see a lot of flashing red warning signs here, okay? I'm in the car,
Right.
A historic share. I just think this is ridiculous. They got to sign him soon.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Zillennials at home would say, go back to last year to Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, and
Yep.
this is how they do business. Us old heads can go back to 93 with Emmitt Smith, and it took Charles Haley putting his helmet through a locker and saying, we can't do this without Emmitt, and them starting out 0-2 for them to finally sign Emmitt. And what'd they do that year?
Well, not only they won the Super Bowl, but listen, the Zoomer version of the sticking your helmet to the locker is changing your profile Twitter picture to a photo of Micah Parsons, which 4 Cowboys did today.
And there it is. We'll see how it plays out, but Kevin's standing by with more. Let's stay in the division because the Cowboys open the NFL regular season Thursday, September 4th against the champion Eagles in Philly. And remember, last season, Dak Prescott signed his extension with Dallas literal hours before the season opener against the Browns. For more on the Super Bowl champs, we bring in Dan Graziano. And Grazman, I'm glad you're not on the Cowboys beat today. Let's talk about the Eagles. A lot of turnover for the defending champs, including at OC. What's the team saying about how things could be different in Philly this season?
Well, I wouldn't expect it to be too much different. They elevated Kevin Patullo to the offensive coordinator spot to succeed Kellen Moore, but Patullo was on the staff last year. This is his 5th year with the Eagles, his 5th year with Jalen Hurts. So he knows well that the Eagles last year found a formula where they could succeed by running the ball with Saquon Barkley behind their awesome offensive line. So Patullo might come in and put his stamp on things, might make a couple of tweaks here and there, but the formula is likely to stay the same. And Lane Johnson, their starting right tackle, told me that's exactly the way they want it.
I would love to be a run, play, action team. It makes things really fun up front. So really balanced last year. So it was a lot easier in the passing game when you have somebody in the backfield that can do that. So really balanced. We'd like to have a similar approach this year.
So we were talking to Lane Johnson after a practice in which Saquon Barkley was all over the place. He caught passes out of the backfield. He broke off a long run. He trash-talked the defense after he ran for a short touchdown and then a 2-point conversion. So the Eagles know where their bread is buttered. Kevin Patullo knows that Saquon Barkley was the key to success last year, and this is a team that is driven to repeat as Super Bowl champions. They're likely to stick with what worked for them last year.
Yeah, the odds makers like Jalen Hurts right now, too. 16-1 to win MVP this season, which would be huge if it comes to fruition. Grassman, the Eagles have not ever had an MVP. And that's our breaking news of the day. Cowboys edge rusher Micah Parsons posting today on social media that he wants out of Dallas. He's been a hold-in at camp seeking a new deal. He says that his agent and the Dallas front office have not even been in contact. For more, here's PTI's bonus segment with Frank and Mina.
Okay, Mina, what's your reaction to Micah Parsons wanting out of Dallas?
This feels like a giant waste of everybody's time because the Dallas Cowboys are probably going to pay Micah Parsons. The reality is they should have paid Micah Parsons a long time ago. He is one of the best defensive players in football. He is their best defensive player. He is 26 years old. These are the type of players you pay and give gigantic contracts to, typically early, Frank, the way the Philadelphia Eagles do it with a lot of success. The only reason this has dragged out as long as it has is that Jerry Jones tends to drag these things out in a way that is not helpful to the team. So I still feel like he's going to be a Dallas Cowboy. I just think that this drama has been unnecessary.
You know, the way the league is set up with the financial structure, it's almost like the player has to do this, as crazy as it sounds, because he's under contract for this year, about $24 million. Then he could be franchised the next 2 years. So he's trying to strike while the iron is hot. He's clearly one of the best defensive players in football. He's eventually going to get paid and will become the highest, non-quarterback in the NFL. He's that good. But there is a part of me that thinks that Jerry Jones just likes the drama of it. He likes the Cowboys being in the news cycle. It never ends. My thing to you would be, is it smart to do it with a generational talent like this, though?
You know, it's another way to get in the news. Win playoff games, win a Super Bowl.
Right.
And the more productive way to do that is to pay your really good players. But what do I know? All right, that's it. We're done. Back to you.
You know plenty, Mina. What I know is that in the same division, there's another unhappy player, and I'm talking about Terry McLaurin. Adam Schefter reporting that the Commanders receiver has asked for a trade. The Pro Bowler held out the first 4 days of camp looking for a new deal. Then he showed up and held in, and now it looks like he just wants out. Stop me if you've heard that before earlier on the show. For much more on Terry McLaurin, we bring in our senior NFL writer, Jeremy Fowler. Jay Fowler, how far apart are the Commanders right now and McLaurin as the situation continues to unfold?
They're very far apart. There's no other way around it. That's why McLaurin is so frustrated. I talked to somebody today who said that McLaurin is in the same spot he's been in and that Washington simply doesn't see the market the same way McLaurin does, where all these receivers are getting $30+ million a year. Washington looks at this situation as, hey, we'll give you a slight increase from where you are now, which is $23 million. So they're going to have to try to find a sweet spot, which right now is a lot of ground to make up. And I asked a source involved, what about the situation like Matthew Stafford went through, where you could maybe gauge your market with other teams, come back to Washington, see if they would match that? I'm told neither side is there right now, and that there's not a lot of communication between the team and the player at this moment. Could change in the future, but there is a lot of frustration that has boiled to the surface.
On paper, Terry McLaurin, one of 4 players with 1,000 receiving yards in each of the last 5 seasons. Those others are Mike Evans, Justin Jefferson, and Devontae Adams. But apart from on paper, he's your quarterback's favorite target, and he was second in the league in touchdowns. I'm just saying. Today, Cowboys edge rusher Micah Parsons posting today on social media that he wants a trade. He's been a hold-in at camp, seeking a new deal. He's got 1 year left on his contract. He says his agent and the Dallas front office haven't even been in contact. For much more on Micah Parsons, let's bring in the guy that always has to represent the star, even on days like this, our former Cowboy, Marcus Spears. Swagoo, what was your immediate reaction to Parsons' trade request?
First of all, I love your tone because I'm so top. I don't want anybody else to tell me to calm down today. I don't want to hear it. You know how it's that kid that just picks on you at school?
Yes.
And everybody like, turn the other cheek, just chill out.
Mm-hmm.
Go. No, it's time to punch him in the face.
Correct.
Okay? Because it's not going to stop until you do it. That is how I felt when I heard about Micah Parsons wanting a trade request. I just wanted to punch the Dallas Cowboys in the face. And it's not because of a negotiation, right? We've all seen these things play out. Myles Garrett just had a trade request with the Cleveland Browns, ends up with the richest contract in the NFL as a defensive player. It's this particular team, the team that I love and that I follow, that continues to do the same thing every single offseason. They eventually end up signing the superstar, but they refuse to acknowledge that it affects the team and how they play football when the season starts. Now you got other teammates that are in the middle of a training camp with a new head coach in Brian Schottenheimer, a new defensive coordinator in Eberflus, that got to deal with potentially not having their superstar defensive end, who accounts for about 25% of this team's pressure on defense, which means he's a one-man wrecking crew and is on pace to be a generational talent. So I don't want anybody. I done got text and on X and Instagram, stop telling me to calm down. I'm not going to do it because it's not about Micah Parsons' contract. It's about the drama that consistently happens with the Dallas Cowboys that affects the way that they play football. This is the ever-revolving cycle. We in phase 2 of the Dallas Cowboys. Go into the offseason with expectations. Don't sign your superstar player until the day before the season and sit your ass at home and watch the playoffs. So phase 3, everybody gonna get mad again, and we're gonna start this revolving cycle once more.
Yeah, listen, what's the adage, right? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. You mentioned it. We're always here with this team. Dak last year, CeeDee Lamb last year, and CeeDee Lamb actually tweeted this, quote, never fails, dog. Just pay the man what you owe him. No need for the extracurricular. And Swagger, we also saw some notable teammates change their profile pictures to include a picture of Micah Parsons standing in solidarity publicly. And I'm wondering, how does that kind of fracture, especially this close to the start of the season, affect a locker room trying to build that chemistry, trying to chase a title?
And honestly, that's why I'm pissed off, because now it's separation of church and state, right? Like the front office is not a part of the Cowboys. That's how this team looks at it. And everybody, again, always tell, man, the players got to play. They got to show up on the field and do their thing. Organizations that are well run, that handle their business, and everybody is pulling in one direction, are the teams that we usually see have success. Obviously, you got to have the talent. You got to have the X's and O's and the coaches. But there's a part of professional sports, especially in pro football, where your synergy, the character of the people in the building have to align in order for you to have success. Football has more staff than any other professional sport. It is vitally important for people to be on the same page if you're going to try to accomplish winning a championship. And here we are again with the face of one of the faces of your franchise back in this ever revolving cycle, now asking for a trade request. And you know what, El? it's a little part of me that is hoping Micah stand on business. It's a little part of me that wants this not to work out the way the Cowboys usually thinks it's going to work out, where you go throw the boatload of money and they eventually sign. Usually it turns out the other way and you end up getting a deal done. But there is something to be said for this organization and this team for always seemingly to end up in this position, but continues to try to throw this thing on the outside like this doesn't affect the actual playing of football and trying to win a championship. And that is where I'm pissed off at. The Micah Parsons negotiation, the deal, the trade, all of that type of stuff, we can assume that it's going to get done. If it doesn't get done, you get compensation for getting rid of a player like him. But what we also can assume, and we can base this off of a lot of history and a lot of evidence, is that the Cowboys ain't going to do nothing this football season.
They're about to do that mess around and find out, but maybe the not safe for work version. The good news is for Micah Parsons, yesterday's prices ain't today's prices. Either way, he gonna get paid. Marcus Spears.